in order to attract them. One of our greatest assets, however, is our people and our good, skilled, working people. They have the ability to fill those jobs and make those jobs become a reality for businesses throughout the ward. We are situated financially and physically in a great area with transportation, trains, water, and highways that we can get more businesses. And we're continuing to do that, working with established organizations like the City of Chicago, the local Chambers of Commerce, the Industrial Commission, and other state agencies.
Can you please hold your applause so we can get as many questions in as possible? What are your plans for pet coke and addressing the health issues it creates for the community? Alderman Polk?
It doesn't matter.
Whoever wants to answer it first.
Now, I'm proud of the efforts that we as a community have made to address pet coke, and not just pet coke, but other issues. During the last several years, we've taken strict, aggressive actions to address the issue of pet coke in our community, pet coke that has existed for over 100 years. And specifically, because of tough legislation introduced in the City Council and approved in coordination with the mayor, governor, and elected officials, including Robin Kelly and Senator Durbin, we're able to make a real impact on getting rid of pet coke in our community. And we've seen the results. KCBX is closing down their North Terminal. BP, the international company they are, will not ship pet coke to not only Chicago, but to the entire state of Illinois. And pet coke is no longer operational under Beamster Board. We passed legislation that will prohibit companies from coming in and pass the strictest regulations. If they want to come, they've got to respect the community. And this is not something new. I've fought polluters in the past and will continue to do so. I'm fighting waste management on 2 occasions. Carmoose Line on the east side, closing them down. This is another example of the efforts that we've done.
Thank you. Round of applause, please.
The legislation that was made possible to rid our community of what you say is pet, the pet coke, was made possible by the people of this neighborhood. That's where it came from. You talk about the North Terminal closing, the South Terminal is expanding, so they're really just shipping it from one side to the next. So don't be fooled. The pet coke, I have been on the forefront of the pet coke issue. 2 years ago, we sat around a table and formed People Against Pet Coke and worked with the Southeast Environmental Task Force and brought these people, the community, to legislate against pet coke. So I will continue to fight against corporate polluters, and I will never take money from people who are polluting our neighborhood.
Okay. Candidate Garza, next question. What are your opinions on term limits?
I believe 2 terms as alderman is sufficient. I believe that people should be given the opportunity to come in and have a voice. I think that after sitting on an alderman's seat for 16 years, you have a tendency...
No personal attacks.
Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, after sitting in the alderman's chair or the president or whomever for a long time, you become complacent and comfortable, and you forget about what your voice is supposed to be. You're supposed to be a voice of the people as a public official. So I believe that 2 terms is sufficient. That's what it is for our president. It should hold true throughout.
I have no opposition to term limits. Let me remind you, though, that these jobs and some of the challenges that you face take a long time to deal with. And we've seen that with the Lakeside site. We've been dealing with that for, 16 years? And we're still moving forward. So it does take time. Anyone who's involved with major developments knows it takes time.
Okay, this is kind of an open question. What is your number 1 concern as an East Side resident and as alderman?
My number 1 concern as a Southeast Side resident is jobs. And creating more jobs, more opportunities for all of us. And jobs is one part of the formula, the solution that makes a better neighborhood. If people don't have jobs, they don't have the ability to make money to provide for their families. Usually they commit, or some of them result to crime. If people don't have a quality education, they don't have the ability to get a good job. So education, crime, and jobs are so intertwined. We need to create more jobs to lift people out of poverty, to allow them to live the American dream, stay in our community, and continue to contribute to our Southeast Side community. Definitely jobs.
Our campaign took a survey and we heard from the people, and the people's number one concern was jobs as well. As your alderman, I will work very hard to create new jobs within the 10th ward and use TIF money to entice those small businesses and large businesses to come to ensure that there are jobs here. I also have a priority of giving the people of the 10th ward a voice, something that we haven't had for a very long time. No one's ever asked us what we want, what we need, or what we'd like to see here, and it's time that we stand up and we say we want our ward back.
If you are elected or re-elected, will you vote to take down the red lights? The red light cameras, I'm assuming that's what this question is.
Absolutely, positively, yes. On my first day, I will pass some kind of legislation to get rid of them. It's another way of balancing the budget on the backs of the working class. There's a study done by the Chicago Tribune, and actually some intersections that have red light cameras have higher accidents. So it's not about safety. It's about an underlying way of getting money off of people that don't really have money. We have 3 speed cameras in our neighborhood, and they're not around a park, they're not around a school, which is what they're supposed to be at, and they're not in those locations.
The 10th ward has 0, no red light cameras. And there are speed cameras where there's been a history of accidents near churches, near schools, where there's hundreds of feet of guardrail because of the accidents that have occurred over the years, not just endangering people, but their properties. I see cameras as a means to allow our police officers who are overburdened to concentrate on the more serious crimes. That's why I support getting more police off the street, unlike some people who are not favoring additional police officers. That's why we can use technology to work towards our advantage, to allow our police to concentrate on the issues that are serious and of issue to our community. Technology is the key. Use that. Free up police officers. Let them deal with the gangbangers, the true criminals in the neighborhood, not ticketing people who should be driving sensibly as it is.
That's right. All right, Alderman Pope, we're going to start with you. What are you going to do to stop all the shootings in the area?
There's not one single solution, but I will say, unlike some people running for office, I will support common sense gun laws and laws that prohibit or stem the flow of illegal guns into our community. If you don't support more police, more sensible programs, and fighting illegal guns, then you are not in touch with this community. And unfortunately, some people oppose hiring more police who do not favor additional common sense gun laws with respect to illegal firearms. We look around, not just in this neighborhood, but across the city, and we see crimes being committed far too often. We need to enhance our police department, additional training, but enhance our community, creating more programs, like I said earlier, using the YMCA, using the schools to educate our system, using our churches as we have in the past to provide opportunities. But you've got to have common sense gun laws, and you've got to enforce them. I see officers here on the street. Let them do their job, provide them with the tools they can so that we can get these criminals off the street and not have another one of our children shot or killed.
Thank you.
I do believe in common sense gun laws, and number one, I believe in the Constitution of the United States, and everyone has the right to bear arms, right? So actually the legal gun owners with their FOID card are not the issue. It's the illegal guns that are in this city that are causing problems, and that's where we need to focus, on the illegal guns, not the people that are carrying firearms legally. So I believe that we need to create more programs so kids don't have to be on the street and look to gangs and guns and drugs as an answer. Those are things that we can use, again, TIF money to create after-school programs, grant money, to give the kids a safe place to go and positive alternatives to just standing on the corner and not having something to do.
The next question is, how will you fight the budget cuts proposed by Governor Rauner, such as childcare, ceasefire, and immigrant services? Ms. Garza?
Once again, I have a history of standing up and fighting for what's right, and the billionaires who are trying to balance the budget on the backs of the working class, we have to put an end to that. So we have to continue our fight, and we have to bring our message to Springfield if need be, and let Governor Rauner know that Chicago's not going to stand for this, or the state of Illinois will not stand by these budget cuts. People that need these services are the ones, they need them the most, and these are kids that are going to be hurt the most by it. I'm one counselor in a school with 894 students because of budget cuts. Because of budget cuts, we have schools that have 42 and 47 kids in a classroom because of budget cuts that some people voted yes on.
Well, one, I would not and did not vote for a Republican governor. I did not vote a Republican ticket in the government election. Two, I'll continue to work with our elected officials in Springfield. I've already communicated with them about the daycare crisis because I've been in communication with our daycare operators, and it has a significant impact on our entire community. And this is just one example of the cuts that are being made in Springfield. It's not just the children that are being without services. It's those workers, those hardworking men and women who work at the daycares, making minimum wage, who are now losing money. And it's the parents who have to stay at home now because their children have no daycare that are also losing out. That's just an example of how those cuts are hurting not just one, but 2 and 3 groups of people. We need to work with our legislative officials. I've done it before. I will continue to do it. Meeting at the Springfield Hall, meeting downtown, taking busloads of people as we have on various issues to lobby the entire legislature to let them know that these are issues of concern to us in the 10th Ward.
The next question is, what will you do to help the formerly incarcerated get jobs?
As we have been doing and continue to do, work with those agencies who provide the services to make them hireable, like the expungement. Actually, today we may have a flyer that we're promoting the expungement process. We have people coming into our office all the time looking for jobs. That's why we have an employment book there. But not just an employment book, but resources that allow them to be job ready. As I mentioned before, a lot of folks have problems with alcohol and drug abuse. They have criminal records. We need to get those addressed as soon as possible to make them eligible to go to work. Also, expired driver's license or suspended. We work closely with the Secretary of State to expedite those processes as soon as possible, make sure they're ready. And job training programs, job readiness programs, so that all those folks are ready. And we've taken action in the City Council to ensure that those type of folks are considered for being hired. Actually, the mayor just did a program with the Park District that favors and targets formerly incarcerated individuals to encourage that they work. And actually next week, we're doing a hiring program for the new East Side Elementary School, the third one, the community school that is being built in our community, and local preferences given to minorities and residents.